Alright guys, welcome back to the Department of Filtration. We're going to be having a look at two filters together today. Got the Ford Motorcraft AFL-1MC and the Toyota 909154002. Now the idea of these two filters was sort of have a bit of a oil filter contest between these two brands, the leading sort of American brand and the leading Japanese brand, and see what both of them are like. The reason I've chosen these two is they're both the genuine versions of essentially a Z9. So this is a Z9 but the genuine Ford, so it's all a lot of Falcons and all those other Fords, and this is, I know it looks a little bit short, but this is a Toyota version, the Z9, so lots of Hiluxes and Land Cruisers and stuff like that. The story with the height is that this is actually the original Toyota filter used to be about the same height as all these other ones. Like this is more of a standard sort of Z9 size looking thing. But this, they only recently changed it, so in the last few years we've missed out on getting the taller ones and now got these short and fatter ones, so have a look at that. One thing I quickly want to point out is that this is for your American guys, this is a FL-1A. Obviously I'm in Australia. It's not a dodgy eBay or nothing. I've gone to the Ford dealership and they're giving me this, and as you can see it's a different part number and it's an Australian Ford part number, so it's not. And where's it saying? So it's made in Thailand. I know yours guys' boxes are different and they're made in the US, but this is a Ford Australia filter, so I'm interested to see what that's like, even just compared to the American ones, which I can't get here. I might link a video at the end in the description with an American one. So we're going to be comparing these two and what they're like today. So start off with opening the Ford one up. As you've seen on the box, it's a Motorcraft, Ford Motor Company Australia, made in Thailand, and that's about it. It's on the box. Partner long life oil filter. Instructions there. Date codes down the bottom. Plastic cover, which is good. You know, Toyota one, it's just in a standard Toyota parts box. They're all very similar. This one's also made in Thailand. I know the original sort of Z9 Toyota filters are made in Japan, so they have changed it, so I'm interested to see what this one is like. Instructions on the side. This is our black. This is Denso on the side, and their part number will probably be Denso made filter for Toyota. So they're both made in Thailand, which is interesting. You and I sort of comparing an American and Japanese car thing. To give you an idea of the sizes here, this Motorcraft, it's about 92mm wide, whereas the Toyota closer to 98. And in terms of height, Ford's 136 and Toyota's about 98, so I adjust the diameter's about the same. This one's a fray bigger and the Motorcraft's a fair bit taller. They both got protective covering on them. And as you'll notice there, Toyota comes with a pre-lubed gasket, which pretty much all their filters do, which is nice. So we've got 8 inlet holes, decent over in there. This one's the same, 8 inlet holes, a little bit smaller spaced. This gasket almost seems pre-lubed as well, it's just not quite as greasy as the Toyota one. It came out real easy. Not the thickest valve, it's definitely pre-lubed, but not the thickest gasket, but I reckon it do the job. This Toyota one looks like it's going to be typical, hard to get off. Yeah, they put a little lip on them that goes under the lip of the filter fold, so definitely not going to get that undone. It's just the outside. We'll go ahead and get these cut undone and see what we're looking at. Alright guys, got these cut open, so I'll have a look at the Ford first. So our base plate is pretty nice. It's in clean, you can see nice thickness there. Focus. No. Got 4 threads there, so that's fairly average but not bad. It's pretty solid. Got a bright orange silicone in your drain back. Nice bit of spring. Does fit quite nicely over there. Covers the gaps. And fits over our canister nicely. Got a coil spring. It's quite a weaker looking coil spring from my point of view. You can see even there that it hasn't remained straight. Sort of bent over to the side a bit. And if there was going to be one piece of wire spanning that distance, I'd like to see it at least double the thickness, but fits on the bottom there pretty good. It's just on a real angle. Don't know if you can see. Try it. Fingers out of the way, so if that's flat, see the bottom of that's. I want to be sitting off center in the can. It doesn't really sit in there either, but it's got a little locator in the bottom of the can though, that it fits in fairly well. Alright, now we've got our element, which is looking pretty nice. Our coil spring loaded bypass down there, middle end caps, metal crimp with just cellulose media. Does look pretty nice. We've got levers on the inside. For you American guys, this is looking a bit different to an American Motorcraft for sure, I reckon. But it's not too bad. Now I'll have a look at the Toyota, which is a bit interesting. This is our can. Take this apart and we can see the reason why they've changed it. The filter. So they've gone to a more modern Toyota style filter. The end capless inside the canister itself with a whopping big leaf spring. Look at that. Whopping big. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. So, it's a little bit small for the can. I wonder why that is so. But in terms of base plate, there's a lot of weight in that. It's very nice. See, we've got 5 threads down there which look nicely cut. There's no issues there. Our anti-drain back valve, it's a rubber. It's got a lot of spring to it. Very high quality rubber, I'd reckon. It does have a few markings on there, but it's nice. Fits on there well again. It's got a nice edge in this cap. Fits nicely. So, for you guys that haven't seen one before, I'll just give you a quick show of how these elements are. Essentially what they are is just the cellulose, and the ends are glued down the bottom. That helps with the sealing surface, but they're also glued at the end of each plate. And they got this metal core, which in other filters I think, yeah, comes out. You can see the folds in there. So a lot of the more modern Toyota car filters were like this from the factory. A lot of newer cars have just this piece goes in the housing without any of the other can or nothing. It's just this. And obviously this is quite old filter, would have come out. The original one would have been out in the maybe even 60s, 70s. And obviously I changed it in the last few years so that the elements are the same across the board probably. This type of element in there. So in terms of that, we've got a center core, lots of holes, really nicely cut holes. There's no burrs or nothing that could cut your media. Crimped on one end and cut on the other. So when it slides down in, really tight fit. And the reason, and obviously we got in our top cap, this helps support the center tube to help it not collapse in on itself, as well as support the anti-drain back. drain back valve there. And on the bottom, because of the way it's designed, obviously on a regular type of element, you got your big flat base. You can just whack a spring on the bottom and it should be good. But with these, just the way it's designed, it requires you to have a leaf spring. Now the lot I've seen, this is really nice. As I said, whopping big. Calipers again. So this is coming up on 90 mil and then about 48, so it's big and can hold a lot of pressure. So I don't really like leaf springs that much, but if I had to pick a leaf spring that I've seen, this one would be the best. And then they've got the little coil spring loaded bypass valve in the bottom of that. And so there's a bevel that's on the bottom. And that lines up real nicely. The centers that there. And then this glue around here, which is sort of a little bit soft and tactile, also helps seal around the bottom. So that's how they go. A little bit of a different style. I think some of the Asian car manufacturers are using this a lot more commonly now. So that's very interesting. I did not expect that out of this type of filter. Now, Motorcraft, just a very traditional type of filter. Very traditional. So this is more like an original sort of thing as it would have been back in the day. And this looks like they've changed it to bring it up to their modern standards of what Toyota are making all their oil filters now, and it's good to see. At least they're improving things and taking care of their old machines. If they think that this is a better design, and they're actually upgrading their older things, which is nice. But we'll get these cut open and see how much media we got in there and come back. Right, so I'm back. I got the medias cut out or cut apart. This is what was left of the Toyota one. I think there's a little bit more usable filter media there than you can easily get at with the knife. But they're cut apart. Now our Toyota ones come in at about just over 2.5 meters width. 56. And our Motorcraft had a bit more media in it. We're looking at just under 3 meters in a width of 88. Now just a quick observation from here before we go on to looking at it under the microscope. We might actually look at the microscope first and then talk about the media, what it's like. So then we've got a proper idea, but one thing was I wasn't really happy with the glue on this Motorcraft. It's just typical So you can see how, even up the side of the rim, you can see how deep the goes. There's pretty much none there. And then it's not really bonded properly to the, very easy to rip out media there. Just starting to see a bit of these days. Same problem here, easy to rip out, not much glue. This Toyota stayed together even under the pressure of ripping that all apart. So I'll have a look at these under the microscope. Right, yeah, so that's the medias. Both look like fairly just standard cellulose, but say the Toyota one probably looks a little bit finer, a little bit better quality. And we can see that in the paper. It's a nice bright solid colour. It was nice, got a glued seam, but as you'd expect when the whole thing's just glued. You know, media thickness. It's really quite thick stuff. It's about 1.1 mil right there. Really thick, nice media there. I'm going to have a look at the form. Feels a lot more, just the feel of it feels a lot more like your cheaper supermarket brand filters. See the difference in that thickness there. We're right down around the 0.8, 0.7, 0.8. It's quite a big difference in thickness there. So even though there's a lot less in terms of surface area in the Toyota, that media is quite a bit better quality, I reckon. The other thing is you'll notice we've got a solid single colour here. And in our Motorcraft, various different colours. I only learnt this the other day actually, but the different colours, the discoloration in the media actually means that it hasn't quite been treated to as good a quality as this. The difference is that something like this that's even and really nice and spread out, this paper would have been treated, it gets this yellow colour from being treated, and this would have been treated when it was still like this, just all flat out. And so I've got nice even coverage and everything is treated properly, whereas this is much more likely to have been treated while it was already folded up. And so you can see it's meant to be this yellow colour, but the very edges are brown, and you can see that there on the highs and the lows. So this paper's been unevenly treated when it was manufactured. So what does that leave us with? On the Motorcraft side, we got a very traditional type filter. You know, metal core, louvers, coil spring, whole heap of media. I wouldn't say that that was a bad filter, but we do have some minor quality issues. I wouldn't say that this spring was adequate for the size of the filter. It's very small, flimsy coil. We've got unevenly treated paper. It doesn't feel like the greatest quality, and not enough glue holding the thing together. On the Toyota side, we've got a little bit less media. A very non-traditional filter type, more of a modern Toyota type with no end caps, all glue and a very sturdy spring. And I'd say very high quality. I don't see any issues with anything here. It's been very well made. So I'm finding it a little bit hard to decide which one's my favourite here. If we're going off quality, the Toyota is certainly the winner there. If we go on design, it's sort of anyone's pick. Toyota's certainly going this way, a lot of other manufacturers, I think Hyundai, maybe Mitsubishi. A few of the others like that are all going this way. Or you got your traditional sort of filter style over here. Interested to know what you guys think. Right there we've got the Motorcraft versus the Toyota in the Z9 style filters.